Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
Have you ever taken that first sip of coffee in the morning and instantly felt like a new person? I know it happens for me every single morning, but what if I told you that creativity works the exact same way? Hi, my name is Javier Santana. No relation to Carlos. I said this earlier today, but I'm what you might call a creative thinker, imagination igniter. I also have three beautiful daughters who are my inspiration and my pride and joy. I own and operate a communications and branding firm called High Ground Solutions, and have spent the last 30 plus years helping companies grow and meet their goals through branding and marketing and storytelling. So I'm also launching an apparel brand later this year, as well as a coffee company. So I am one of those serial entrepreneurs. So if there's one thing that I love as much as creativity, it's coffee. So I'm pretty busy right now. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. Enough of me. We're here for you. And I want to talk about two words today, creativity and imagination. Those two words, they are, in my most humble but honest opinion, two of the most important words in the world. These powerful words, they drive innovation and they drive growth and they drive expansion and breakthroughs, as well as reboots. And they're the beginning of anything that's created, an idea. They're catalysts for ideas. So I personally hold these two words in very high emphasis, as you might say, because I've already been saying them over and over again, and in reverence, because with them, anything is possible. So look, there's a lot of people I'm sure that drink coffee here, but I relish these words like a very good cup of coffee. You know, you coffee drinkers know exactly what I'm talking about because there is such thing as a bad cup of coffee. But when you have that really, really good cup of coffee, you know what I'm talking about. And look, if you don't like coffee, I can't help you. Hang out, you'll get the point that I'm trying to make here. But think about it. You take a sniff, picture that, smell that cup of coffee. Um, and then also take a sip, virtually, obviously. Feel the warmth, the aroma, the flavor, kind of when it hits your taste buds. You know, when your taste buds start doing backflips, you know, they do for me when I have that really good coffee, right? Can you guys smell that? Can you taste it? That single moment when you first taste that cup of coffee, and all of a sudden your day is 100% better and it's full of possibilities, your whole world. See what happened there? You just used your imagination. And that's the power of creativity. It brings things to life before they even happen. So, you know, my topics seem a little bit broad, but I'm going to clarify this. You know, sip, imagine, create. You can see where I'm going with this. You know, the essential ingredients for inspiration and possibility. So stick with me because by the time that we're done, you're going to see exactly how all of these ingredients come together to fuel transformation and ultimately reboots and breakthroughs, whether you're in business or in life or your next big idea that you're trying to get off the ground. Okay. So let's get going here. Um, Creativity, I'm going to tell you what it is and what it isn't. Creativity isn't something only artists and inventors have. A lot of people think that. It is also not an exotic power. We all have it. Many people think creativity is binary. You either have it or you don't have it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The lie that we've been sold for some reason is that creativity is a gift reserved for those that are talented. And that's false. Creativity isn't not a gift. Creativity is a muscle. And if you don't use it, it weakens. So what I'm trying to say is everyone's creative. Not everybody's artistic. However, everyone's creative. The problem is that in the middle of the rat race and the hustle and the grind of everyday life, these words often get neglected or forgotten. And the biggest reason that people struggle to reboot or scale in their business or to grow isn't really a lack of resources, it's a lack of creative thinking, thinking outside the box, right? People have creativity droughts. I've had them in the past before, because they either neglect or their creativity, or they just give it away. Because we give our creativity away every single day, whether we know it or not. We give it away to our clients in exchange for money. We give it away to our friends in exchange for connection, and sometimes our family, in exchange for, maybe out of love or obligation sometimes. And we give it to the algorithm in exchange for hope. But at the end of the day, when we do that and we give everything away, then we have nothing left and our cup is empty. And then your clients win, and then your friends win, and your family wins, and the algorithm wins, and your cup is empty. And there's no creativity left for you to create and to expand and to grow and to reboot. Um, so what I'm trying to say here, and I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm going to bring it home. These words need to be considered: creativity, imagination. They need to be a category. They need to be implemented and practiced every day of our lives deliberately. Creativity isn't also just about ideas, it's about tapping into something bigger than ourselves. We also need to understand that the creative process is messy. Creativity is very messy. And if you're one of those type A folks, and there's a lot of those here, I'm sure, um, hear me out. You are still creative, but you have to embrace the mess of the process. And creativity is, most importantly, a muscle. And all of us need to learn how to train it and how to use it. Because, like I said earlier, if you don't, you don't lose it, but it gets very weak. So, real quick, this is evergreen information, but I'm going to remind you, because you might already know this: 3 things that can help you reignite your creativity. Number 1, change your perspective. In life, when we change our point of view, all of a sudden we see the world very differently. So when we're problem solving, we have to look at things, ask different questions. Why, instead of saying, why is this happening? You can always say, what else could be happening here? Changing your perspective, your altitude, and how you look at things changes the way you look at them, which changes the way we can approach solving the problem. Number 2, stop pressing. Now, that's just a big one for me, because I always say, I used to play baseball in college, and you hustle, right? There's a difference between rushing and hustling. You got to want to have a pep in your step, but when you press, you make mistakes. So you need to give your subconscious time to work. Pressing stifles creativity. So you got to go back to you go back to your defaults. When you start pressing, you start applying the negative pressure, when the pressure is on. So the goal here is to make sure that your defaults are good habits, not bad habits. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Okay, number 3, work the problem, not complain about it. And look, we hear this all the time. And look, the movie Apollo 13, let's work the problem, people, right? So it's important. You have to look at it and work it instead of complain about it. And there are many things that you can do here, but habits that you can purposely create in order to build that reservoir of good habits and good creativity, things that you can tap into when the pressure's on, when it's needed. Okay. Like I said, I played baseball through college, and my name being Javier Santana, I played second base and third base. And I always thought, man, with this name, oh, give me the contract, I'm going to play professional baseball. Well, that didn't happen. However, playing sports and playing baseball in my life gave me a lot of foundational kind of things in life, as far as work ethic and different mindsets that I apply now in business. But as far as baseball, one of the things I used to do, and we used to do all the time, is practice a lot. We played games. Obviously, I played. I remember my senior year, 50 games in 60 days. So we played a lot of baseball, but we practiced a lot, hours of repetitive muscle memory, repetitive. I used to play second base, and we used to turn double plays. So the coach used to hit us ground balls, and we used to do short hops and pivots and throw over and over and over and over. That's how you get your reps in. When you play an instrument, you got to get your reps in, because then you create habits in your muscles, in your mind. And those are the defaults I was talking to you. So when the pressure's on, and I was in the middle of a game, and it was like in the 9th inning, and that ball was hit to me, that wasn't the first time that situation happened in my life, because I've repeated it over and over again, uh, in practice. So it was my default. I went to the default, and which was the good habit. So if we don't have good reps, we're going to go to the bad habits when things are pressing. So creativity habits are essential to success, period. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few tried and true habits that you can implement immediately. And I call them creativity calisthenics, keeping in the sports analogy there. So, number one is journaling. Now, we all hear about journaling, and I'm not consistent about it, but that is broad. Journaling for me, the way I see it, is putting an idea from here and putting it on paper, getting it out of your head. The idea is to get ideas out of your head and into written form, getting them down on paper where you can assess them. Some, people journal for different reasons, their emotions and their feelings and ideas. Whatever you do, great, do that. But when you're talking about creativity and tapping into that, journaling is a very big one there. Brain dumps. We hear the word brain dumps a lot. I like to get it all out and unpack, because what it does is declutters your mental space. And when you have all that in there, it's painful. And at the same time, it's hard to be creative in that environment. So you train yourself to just unpack things mentally. Number three, meditation. And we hear about meditation, and there's all kinds of meditation. Being present, being in the moment, that's so important. I've done all kinds of things like that, but in regards to context here, your creativity needs space. In order to do that, you need to practice solitude. I love several speakers I've heard them talking about living in the moment and being in the now, and being and finding ways to kind of be on your own. And that's very valid. When you're trying to seek those places in your subconscious, it's good to kind of unplug from the matrix, per se, right? I say downshifting. Everybody's in fifth gear all the time. Sometimes you got to downshift and slow down enough in order to kind of regroup, you know? So a lot of people are living in anchored in the past, and they're too focused in the future, and that's important with your goals and there's in your aspirations. But don't forget today. Don't forget now. And that's where you practice solitude, and where you can kind of find your creativity there. Number four, learn something new. And that's just pretty cool, because the science behind it is you're creating new neurons and pathways in your brain, but new inputs create new ideas. Learn an instrument, start painting, read a book, learn something new. It's easier these days than ever. Number five, take breaks, explore nature. Like I talked about practicing solitude, but you have to unplug. You have to get outside, clear your mind. That's another way to do this. I always say getting away to get it together. And I don't have to necessarily go on a trip very far, but I can take a drive, break my monotony of being behind this desk all day long, every single day. So the next one is ask better questions. The better your questions, the better your answers. But you need to be curious. That's the point here. Curiosity fuels creativity. So ask better questions. The better questions you ask, the better answers you're going to get from even yourself, your self-conscious. Okay, and the last one here is play. Be playful. That is a core value that I've adopted in this part of my life. I'm 54 years old now, and I grinded and hustled my entire life, raising three daughters, and play is something, we forget. Adults forget to play, and play sparks imagination. So play, be playful. Okay, don't take yourself so seriously, folks. I've done it for many years, and I'm done doing that. Okay, excuse me. So, I'm going to give you an example of creativity in action. I'm going to bring this home. So, in the Bible, Jesus speaks in parables because he tells a story, and that's how people remember things. So, in my case, I'm going to describe a movie scene that we might have seen, but it's going to bring home the point here. Okay, so Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's the third of five. The first three are really good. The last two, but this is the third. It's the one with Sean Connery, and Sean Connery played Indiana Jones's father, or Harrison Ford, who played Indiana Jones. And there's a scene in the movie where Sean Connery had been kidnapped by the Nazis, and it was in this castle in Germany. Indiana Jones went to rescue him. They got him. They escaped. They got in a car, and they were being chased by an airplane. And at some point, the car a bomb hit in front of them. The car went into a ditch. They got out. They were okay, and they were running, and the airplane was circling back. So now they were found each other on a beachhead, and there was no cover. And this plane is coming down to shoot them and kill them. Now you have father and son. The son started panicking, even though Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones is really cool. In this case, he didn't know what to do. Sean Connery, dad, for some reason had an umbrella in his hand. I don't know where he got the umbrella. Maybe that's what the director wanted him to do, but he grabbed it from the car and he had it with him. And he looks up at the plane, he looks at his son, and then he looks down at the beach, and there's this flock of seagulls, hundreds of them. And there he looks at him in front, and then coming this way is the airplane. He looks at his umbrella, and you can see he's not saying any words. What he's trying to solve. So he runs towards the seagulls, starts opening and closing the umbrella. The seagulls go up just as the time when the airplane comes in. The seagulls run into the propellers and take the plane down. It goes down and explodes. And then you see Indiana Jones shocked and like, what just happened? And his dad was like, I got this. I got this, son. What's my point here? Well, creativity is about taking bold action before you see the path clearly. Now, he went to the pressure was on. His default was to think through it and solve the problem instead of panic. Two different responses based on how they've exercised a creative muscle in the past. So there's a story there for you to kind of munch on. Great movie if you haven't seen it yet. So the point here is when the pressure is on, he had a well of creativity to tap into. So the biggest barrier I see in creativity, it's not drinking enough coffee. Okay, sorry, just kidding. On a serious note, the biggest barrier is fear of being wrong. And a lot of us have that. We have run into that in the past where we just afraid. So that freezes us, right? But to live a creative life, we must lose fear of being wrong. And I personally am very thankful that at this point in my life, I'm okay with not being right, especially with having three daughters. So I'm very comfortable with it. I wasn't for the longest time. But if we're close-minded, we've already lost. And the only wrong answer here is doing nothing. So do something and learn and adapt and make adjustments. Okay. So, excuse me, at the heart of creativity is meditation. And I talked about a little bit about meditation. There's all kinds of meditation, but it's not just meditation, the one about centering ourselves, which is important, and breathing and all that. That's really good. I do that too. But it's also in meditating with the one, in seeking the one who created us, is my point here. And God, right? I said earlier, like creativity, I didn't, it's about thinking outside the box. I also always say it's also about questioning the box, but if I take it even further, it's about seeking the one who created the box in the first place. And that's where the source of creativity is. It's really important that we tap into that, because that's when we open things and we don't close, opportunities. We're not, and like I said earlier, if we're close-minded, it's very difficult to move on. So in life, we're all explorers and we're all artists, whether we think about it or not. We are. We're all students and we're all teachers, and we're also all poets in some capacity, and we're all experts in something. The best explorers and the best artists and the best students and the best teachers and poets and creators and innovators and the best leaders are not afraid to fail. So what I want to do is real quick switch around the other way and give you some indicators, symptoms maybe that you might have. So evaluate yourself here. Self-awareness is important here. And if you have any of this or any combination of these, it's a sign that you need to rethink your think and kind of consider creativity and imagination as part of your everyday life, because that could be stifling your creativity. So the first one is doom scrolling. We'll all scroll. Very, very, we can't avoid it, but there's a difference. We know the difference between scrolling and doom scrolling. Sit there and 2 hours goes by. That's a sign. Zombie taskers. Look, there's a lot of people that have lists up and down, all kinds of to-dos and spreadsheets and PowerPoints, and don't do anything. They just sit there and plan without doing. That's a problem. Another sign, are screens consuming you? Today, screens are consuming me. I have like 3 right around here, but monitor this, because if you're the lord of their screens, or is the screen your lord? Big difference. That could be a sign. Overthinking. I'm historically this person, not anymore. I've been I've been healed of overthinking. But that creates mental clutter. And those are also signs that you're keeping too much in your head. And this is when you need a brain dump. Get it out of there. Put it down on paper. Have a conversation with something. Just unpack. Um, uh, who here fears a blank page? A lot of people fear a blank page because, um, it's exhilarating for me, but for others, it's paralyzing. So just, you need to break through those blocks and not be paralyzed by these things. All right. So I'm bringing it home, folks. I'm going to give you a few quotes because don't take my word for it about creativity. Creativity is nothing but a mindset free. Tori Asai said that. Everything that you can imagine is real. Pablo Picasso, pretty creative guy. You can't use up creativity. The more you use it, the more you have it. That's Maya Angelou. Creativity is intelligence having fun. Albert Einstein. Okay, I rest my case. A great author, Elizabeth Gilbert. I love this one. A creative life is an amplified life. It's a bigger life. It's a happier life, an expanded life, a hell of a lot more interesting life. Love that one. So when we realize that we're all creative, no matter who we are or what we do, because you are, even if you don't believe that, we can then tap into that explorer self of ours. We can tap into that artistic self, and we can tap into our student self and our teacher self and our poet self. And then we're ready to use our expertise to have our breakthroughs and our pivots and our reboots in our lives, and also bless others and help others and have that impact that we always talk about in the lives of others, because we cannot give something that we don't have. So you are creative. It is who we are that makes us creative. It is how we interact with others and how we react to our situations and to what's around us that makes us creative. So believing is the beginning of a beautiful journey and of discovery towards your reboot. It starts with creativity and with imagination. Those words have to now become verbs and not stay a noun. Okay? There's a big difference. You have to act. I encourage you to have the courage to get messy. And this is your reboot, folks. Sip, imagine, create. Let's get creative. And I want to challenge you, before you look outward for answers, look upward first. And remember, life is too short for a cup of coffee, boring ideas, and staying stuck in the past. So I will finish with a quote here with the wise SpongeBob SquarePants. With imagination, I can be anything I want. So what are you waiting for, folks? Go brew something and go conquer the world and impact the world. Have a great day.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.